and welcome to this week's video. This week I'm going to be doing a review of the past 3 years of competing Beau. I'm going to be showing 2 of what I feel were my best tests, and then 2 tests where things didn't go quite according to plan for various reasons. So I'll be showing like the warts and all, like the highs and lows of competing. And I'll also be doing a bit of talking about what my goals are for 2024. One of those, or one of my biggest goals, is going to be to get fit. So I'm actually headed into the gym now to make a start on that before New Year. What's going on in here? I think somebody's beat me to the gym. What are you doing, Top Cat? Have you been exercising? You're looking very fetching. I like your outfit. Finished? I'm now going to talk a little bit about our last 3 years, and then what our goals going forward are going to be. We bought Beau December 2020, and in that time with British Dressage we have been competing from prelim up to medium. So people that perhaps aren't quite familiar with the levels, the first level is intro, and then there is prelim, novice, elementary, medium, advanced medium, advanced, pre-St George or PSG, into 1, into 2, and then Grand Prix being the highest level, which you see all the top ones competing at, and when they compete at the Olympics and the World Championships, they'll be doing the Grand Prix tests. Within the levels, there's different sections as well. So there is bronze, silver and gold. You have to be quite on top of what level and section, because the more success you have, obviously the higher section particularly, and even levels you need to be competing at. So we started at prelim, and then we've worked our way up to medium. But I also compete at elementary. So I do 2 different competition routes. One is what we call the regionals. So I compete that at the moment at elementary silver. There's another competition route, which is the Pet Plan area festivals, and that is designed for amateurs. So I actually compete currently at medium bronze area festivals, and you always have to compete at a higher level at area festivals than you do at the regionals. You can't compete at the same level at both. The area festival always has to be higher. At the moment, going into 2024, is to get more established at both elementary and medium. and then we are sort of training at advanced medium. So that's why we're sort of learning the changes at the moment. So looking back over the past sort of 3 years, we've been extremely successful as we sort of worked up to levels. The highlights being going to the Winter Championships in 2022 and placing 10th in both our classes. So that was prelim silver and novice silver music. And the novice music test is one of the tests, one of my greatest sort of tests, I feel, greatest moment. So I will be showing that video. And then the other sort of highlight is our medium 75 from the Midway Championships, which is actually held at Hartbury in August, which is a fantastic competition I do try and go to each year. So that's my sort of second sort of what I feel my best tests and greatest moments. And then sort of looking at that's the highs, sort of looking more sort of perhaps at the lows. I was very unfortunate to actually get kicked by Beau at the home internationals before we'd even started competing. He got quite upset and kicked out and caught my arm. I initially thought he's just bruised it, it'll be fine, take some painkillers, it'll settle down. Sadly that wasn't the case, and a trip to A&E showed that he'd actually fractured my ulna in my arm. They initially thought in plaster it would heal on its own, but sadly it didn't. So I did have to have it plated. So I got some metal work in my arm. So that was quite sort of a low point, really. It was quite disappointing. I was really looking forward to competing at the home internationals on the run up to the Winter Championships, which we again got a wild card for this year. Sadly, we had a car come into our field through our fence. Luckily, the horses weren't in there, so it could have been an awful lot worse, but it did set us back a bit on our sort of preparations for the Winter Championships. And then when he arrived, he was in temporary stabling and got extremely upset because the roof was lifting. And I think it was just too much after obviously what happened in the weeks sort of leading up to it and being stable quite a bit. He got quite upset, and then going into the test, the sort of background music and the tannoy, as it proved to be a little bit too much for him. The next part of this particular video will be 4 tests, 2 of them which I feel my sort of greatest achievements, moments, and then 2 where things didn't go according to plan.
was brilliant. Proved brilliant. And they just thought bringing Midway with
So that's my 4 tests. I hope you enjoyed watching them. 2 were good tests, and then 2 where things didn't quite go so well. As you can see, Beau took a bit of a dislike to my music, which was actually the final video, where things didn't go quite so right. I'm sorry, he's not a fan of Sia. I think it was quite loud as well, so it just got him quite sort of upset, and you can see what his reactions are if he does get upset by anything. I did think about retiring in both of those 2 tests, but I did sort of persevere. Whether that was the right decision, I don't really know. I do sort of tense up, so I do need to try and work on that a little bit. But he did then go back into the arenas and for a normal sort of level test, and he was good. So it was just literally the music that seemed to really upset him. So we are sort of working on that now, because I like to do the freestyle music tests. And he was, obviously you can see from the first video, at the Winter Championships, very successful. So we're hoping we can sort of gain his confidence with sort of music as we go forward. We're working at the moment and finding something that he is quite happy to be ridden to and tolerate. I can play music at home and he is absolutely fine. So we now got to sort of take that forwards to other venues and just gain his confidence. Sort of my goals going forwards, like I said at the beginning of the video, I do need to get a lot fitter. So that is my sort of main goal to start with, and I'll obviously show my progress as that goes on. Also, I really feel that I need to concentrate on training, so I'll be doing a lot more. I've been very lucky in the past that I have had training with some top riders. More recently, in October West Camp, I had some training with Becky Moody, which was fantastic. And I have also in the past sort of trained with Hayley Watson-Greaves on my old horse, who was a little bit sort of apprehensive taking him for training because he was, as far as I said, he's a Welsh cob. What they're going to sort of think. But I've always found trainers, it doesn't matter what you're riding, they will help you get the best out of them, and there is no limit really. So I'm hoping in the future I might be able to get some more training. So the scales of training, I'll put the image up now. This is what we sort of work to. Competing at medium, I'm really now sort of at the top of the sort of pyramid collection, but that doesn't mean we don't need to still focus on the other parts as well. So I often find we need to sort of go back and work on the fundamentals, and I've got a trainer that comes down quite regularly, is very good at helping me with those and sort of giving me the confidence with my sort of training and riding. And then sort of looking more at like sort of our competition goals going forwards. We have qualified for the area festivals at medium bronze, and also the winter regionals at elementary silver. So sort of they'll be the sort of first sort of big competitions that will be coming up in the new year. I think we start with those in February. I just need to finalise which ones I will aim for. And then obviously we're now sort of going into the sort of summer qualifying period, which runs from January to the end of June. So I'm hoping to go and qualify at medium bronze and elementary silver, one for the regionals, one for the area festival, and I may, if we can, look at doing the medium bronze music at area festivals. So if he's happy enough, but I'm not gonna chase the music at the moment. I think that's going to be sort of a slow work in progress. We're probably going to stick at sort of elementary and medium for the time being, although we're sort of working at advanced medium. We always try and work at a higher level than we actually compete at, so that we are quite established at the levels we're competing at. I feel like we've quite quickly come up through the levels to sort of elementary and medium, and now we just need to sort of perhaps slow down our progress a bit competition wise and sort of really sort of tidy things up and get established. So that's what we sort of got planned going forwards. Obviously I'll be trying to regularly do videos, particularly of like training, and we do take Top Cat. We will try to do a sort of a segment a bit like Top Cat on tour, as he goes to different venues accompanying Beau. Obviously that's going to be a little bit time sort of permitting, because I've got to focus obviously on Beau at these competitions, but if we can, we'll try and get some footage of Top Cat and what he gets up to. Hopefully nothing too naughty, I don't mind cheeky, but as long as he doesn't get naughty and upset other horses. So we'll see how that goes. So that's my sort of goals going forward. If you're sort of thinking about perhaps having a go at affiliating with British Dressage or just competing dressage unaffiliated, then there's a good sort of a community spirit within British Dressage, and you can contact your sort of local regions, and they're more than happy to help with any questions that you might have. And they run training days. I think there's a scheme at the moment with these have a go shows, where if you're thinking about starting or even sort of moving up a level, and then you can go and sort of test ride, and then you'll get judges' feedback. So these are all accredited judges. So it does give you a good sort of base on perhaps where your training is, or if you feel that you're ready to sort of step up or even step into the British Dressage, and don't be put off by whatever sort of breed, type of horse you're riding. They cater for all types. The Associated Championships, which runs sort of October, November time, has different sections for different breeds. So you've got Irish Draughts, you've got the sort of Mountain and Moorland, sort of the native breeds, Lusitanos, all the sort of not your sort of typical warm bloods. So the dressage really does cater for everyone. So just don't feel afraid to have a go. And any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. And I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.